Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. I have bought another moped, and this time it's another Velo Solex. It's not the same model as my other ones. I already own a 2200 and a 3800. This one is a 5000. The concept is pretty much the same. The engine is the same. There is some small differences to how you actually engage the engine, but it's the same engine. The biggest difference between the other Velo Solex models and the 5000s are the wheel size. The wheels are quite a lot smaller on the 5000, but the technical aspect of the bikes are pretty much the same. But in my experience, and it could be up to chance, but I have driven a lot of Velos. I attend a Velo Solex rally almost every year, and I drive different Velos all the time. So I have been driving at least 5 or 7 5000s. I have driven a lot more 3800 and so on. And in my experience, for some reason, which I think I know why, the 5000 seems to be a little bit quicker, even though it's a bit smaller. I believe it is caused by the small tires. The way the engine delivers the power to the tires or to the moped on a Velo Solex is a very simple design. This is the engine, or a part of the engine. Normally you would have the barrel here and the piston going up and down here. That turns this little wheel inside of here, which is covered by something looks like asphalt or tarmac or something like that. This is just pushed against the tire, and then it spins the tire. It's very simple. On all Velos, as far as I know, this tire, this rolling diameter is the same. The difference between the 13800 and the 5000 is the tire size. That means that the gearing is different. The engine will be running at different revolutions at the same speed on these bikes. And I think the gearing is better on the Velo 5000 in my experience. It seems to be a bit quicker. It must be running at higher revs, but it is quicker. I do believe that the 13800 can be quicker because of the bigger tire if you tune it, and it most likely will also be faster downhill. But yeah. And at long last, I have gotten myself a 5000 again. I owned one a couple of years ago and sold it like I always do. I always end up selling my stuff, as you may know by now. But I got one again, and I picked it up a couple of days ago. And this is something that tends to happen quite a lot when buying old stuff. I tested it and I heard it running, and everything was perfect. There was some slight adjustments needed on the engine, but it was starting and running perfect. So I put it on my trailer and took it back home, and now it won't start. It's the classic thing. Buying something that works and then taking it back home and then it doesn't work anymore. I do believe that the issue is actually self-inflicted. I think because that I put the bike on the side, that something has been disturbed in the fueling system. But let's take a look at it and see if we can make it run again. But firstly, let's just take a look at this wonderful bike. I am unsure if the color is original, but I don't think so. I can remember that the Velo 5000 came in some quite nice colors compared to the 3800, which almost all the time is black. I think there is a blue one called the Blue Angel, but other than that, they are all black. But the 5000 came in orange and blue, and I can't actually remember, but in different nice colors. I think that this one could have been an orange one at some point. I'm pretty sure that this has been painted with a brush, but it's not that bad. The engine is engaged to the tire. Maybe you can actually see the roll I was showing you earlier. Let me get a light. Also, just to check it, I have actually not done that yet. That is something you need to remember to check when buying a Velo. The state of this roller inside of here. Oh, that looks very nice. That's perfect, actually. That's nice to see. If this is worn out, then you won't get a lot of pulling power, and actually they can explode while driving, which is not a very nice thing, and also will leave you stranded. So that is nice, but to engage this engine onto the tire, you pull this lever, and the engine is engaged down on the tire, and then it's going to run. The 5000 got a throttle, so you can actually control your speed slightly. It's a bit of a mess in this cable, but other than that. The previous owner told me, and I can also see that it got a completely new exhaust system fitted, which is very nice. Impex. I don't know if it's original or what it is, but it is a new one at least. On the 3800 Moped or Velo, it's the same engine. This is not original. And you can see the roller inside of there as well. The way you engage it, the way you engage the engine is slightly more manual. It's just by this one, and then you push it down, boop. And when you want it to be disengaged, then just up again. So, but as you can see, the tire is quite a lot bigger. It's a 19-inch rim. Oh, it's in really bad condition, this tire. Anyway, on the 5000, it's a 16, and the condition is slightly better. Anyway, let's get it to work. So, like on all mopeds, if you got compression, if you got fuel, and if you got spark at the right time, it will run. The issue is very often fuel related, and actually fuel pump related. Unlike many mopeds, the fuel tank is below the carb level, therefore it is not gravity fit. Normally you will have a fuel valve that you open and close, and then fuel is just running down into the carb. Not on this one, because this is the tank and this is the carb. Therefore it needs a fuel pump. The fuel pump is right in here, and it's a small diaphragm and some small, very small glass balls that are very easy to lose. But by the crankcase pressure, it will make the diaphragm pump and pump fuel into the carb. And if this doesn't work, it could be many reasons, then it won't run. The diaphragm itself tends to be hard and crack over age, and also the hole inside into the crankcase can be stuffed with something. And there is many reasons for it not working. But a very easy way to check if this is the issue is to take this rubber line off, or fuel line off. This is the return from the carb, so fuel that is not used is put back into the tanks, because this carb doesn't have a float ball and a fuel valve, so all the excess fuel will just run back into the tank. So with this one off, I would normally have a container down here, but I'm going to use the camera while doing it, so that will be a bit difficult. But then I can just take the bike then I take the Velo and engage the drive or the engine, and then I will begin to just slowly make the engine spin and use the decompression valve that will make the engine easier to spin. And then I would like to see fuel come out of the pipe. And yeah, I was expecting this. No fuel is coming out of this pipe. So we are having an issue with the fuel delivery. It could be the pump, it could be the pipes, it could be many things, but it seems to be the issue. And to just show you how it should look, let's take the other moped, engage the engine, pull the line off, and then slowly begin to spin the engine. And as you can see already, fuel is pumping out of the pipe and running down the side. Yeah, I would advise to actually have a little container to catch the fuel. And also you can actually, it's difficult with the camera, but if you have a fuel line that is translucent, you can see the fuel return into the tank, so you don't have to take it off. But that is an easy thing to check when your Velo is not working. After you have done this test, you will have ruled out any issues with the fuel delivery system. There could still be a clogged carb and everything, but the fuel delivery system should be working okay. So let's take a look at that fuel pump. This Velo got the engine protecting bar on it. This protects the engine when the Velo falls over, which is a common thing for them to do. It is very annoying to work on the engine when it's on, and I almost always end up taking them off my Velos, because once upon a time I actually forgot to tighten it back on, and while driving it fell off, went into the wheel, and I was catapulted over the Velo and broke both of my wrists, so I don't really like them. But anyway, we're gonna take it off today. But I would like to add that it was not the Velo's fault, it was my fault. I didn't know when I actually tested the Velo that I hadn't tightened up the bar. I just didn't think of the possibility of it falling down into the wheel, but it was a user mistake, not the Velo's fault, not at all. It's fiddly. Then we can take these rubber thingies off and take the cover for the magneto off. One thing I would like to just quickly add about the magneto is that if you need to do something with the ignition system on a Velo, you need to take this off. And many people think that you can use a puller that pulls on the outside here. That is not the way you take it off, and you will destroy the magneto unless you are very lucky. You need to have a puller that pulls on the inside. There are some holes inside of here that you can fit a puller tool on and then pull it off. It's very easy to make a puller tool yourself, but you need to make something that pulls on the inside, otherwise you will destroy it. But back to the fuel pump, because that is the issue. I haven't tested for spark, but I am expecting it to have spark. What is weird is that the guy I bought it from told me that he had changed the diaphragm on the fuel pump. So it should work. One of the most important things when owning a Velo is to have a lot of number 9s, because it's number 9s almost all the time, and they always disappears when working on Velos, in my opinion. I'm going to remove the 4 bolts holding the fuel pump on, like so. Now we should be able to just take it off. At first glance, it seems as the backing plate is put on the wrong way. It is bending slightly inwards. That should go against the diaphragm, so that could be an issue. And before taking a closer look at the pump, it is advisable to check if something, or if this hole is clogged, because air from the compression in the crank casing should escape right here. And you can check that by turning the engine once again and put a finger on there. No, plenty of air is coming out that hole, so that works fine. Here we are at the workbench and with the pump. Unfortunately, I do not have a rebuild kit for the fuel pump lying around at the moment. It would have been a bit nice, but I don't. But the membrane, the membrane is fine. It is soft, and that will work fine. The backing plate, was actually put on the wrong way. It tends to happen quite a lot, I think, but it's concave on one side and flat on the other one. And the concave side needs to point away from the engine and into the pump. That way the membrane can flex in between that space. That is important. Another important thing is that inside of here, when you take this one off, there is 2 plastic seats and 2 glass balls that are check valves actually. That makes the pumping action happen, so it doesn't just pump the fuel back the way it came, so that it pumps in, and then one of the balls are closing, and then it can be pushed out the other side. Very often, when people take these pumps apart, they will just lose that glass ball, and I think, at least for when I did it the first time, I didn't even notice that I lost it, because when you have taken the plug off and you turn it upside down, it will just fall out. Yep, it's missing. Why did this Velo actually work when I tested it? I didn't actually test it. The guy I bought it from started it and drove up the road and then back again. But how he did that, I don't really know, because without that ball and the membrane fitted the wrong way. Yeah, I'm a bit puzzled about that. It's not there. It's simply not there. You can see the lower one in here, but it seems as though the seatings are completely destroyed. It needs a rebuild kit, that's for sure. But I don't have one. But I have a lot of spares. I'm gonna see if one of my spare pumps are in better condition, and then I can order a new rebuild kit for this one and do that later. But this one looks a lot better inside, I can see. I just need to verify that the lower glass ball is there. It is. The top one I don't think is there because the plug is missing. No, it's missing. Maybe I'm lucky it's inside of the box. Yep, there it is. And as you can see, these are pretty easy to lose. I'm gonna put this one into here and then close it up. And then hope that this pump is working all right. And then order a rebuild kit for the other one. You can sometimes you can actually shake it, and then you can hear the balls move. That means they are most likely working. Let's fit this back to the bike. I am seriously puzzled about the fact that he drove this bike before I picked it up. I don't understand how that had worked. The only way I could think of is pushing on the side of the fuel tank and then pump fuel into the carb that way, but that wouldn't last for long. I really don't know. The guy I bought it from did not seem as someone who was trying to cheat anyone at all, so I think something else is up. But remember to fit this the right way, find out where the concave side is and let it pull out. And then it needs to be fitted to the stud inside, and then the membrane. And don't let too much crap, or any crap at all, actually get into here, because it will get into the engine. And be careful when tightening these bolts up, because they cannot take a lot of force. And then before putting everything back together, let's make the same test as we did to begin with and check if fuel comes out of this one when the engine is turned. There we go, fuel is running out quickly. So this pump is actually in good condition. Let's put it all back together and test it out. So it's working, and it is, as I suspected, a lot quicker than my other Velos, so it just must be down to the tire size and the gearing. Maybe something to do with my weight as well, it could be. Maybe if you are very heavy, it's not a good thing. If you are light, it's good, I don't know. Either way, it runs perfectly now. I'm very puzzled about the fuel pump on this one, because without that glass ball and with the plate fitted the wrong way around, it just shouldn't have been able to ride, but I did see it with my own eyes, so I have no idea what was going on with that. Either way, it's a classic mistake on the Velo that people loses the glass ball and that the fuel pump is at fault. I am going to rebuild a fuel pump and make a video about that in the future, because it's interesting and quite easy actually, and it will make a big difference. If your fuel pump is weak, the entire Velo is weak, of course, actually, but it matters a lot on these kind of mopeds. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next one.